My question is, how do cities build upon the ruins of the past? During my recent explorica travels to and around Italy, we visited Venice, Florence, Rome, Vatican City, Assisi, Sorrento, Pompeii, Herculaneum, and Naples. We visited the ancient ruins in Ostia, Herculaneum, and Pompeii. This showed many buildings standing, showing how Roman cities were. However, when we went to Rome, we visited the Colosseum and the Roman Forum, which were in ruins. The population of Rome declined dramatically because of invasions and the fall of Roman Empire. Our guide explained to us that marble used to construct the Colosseum and the Roman Forum was recycled. These buildings were cannibalized to build the new Rome, primarily the spectacular churches of St. Peter's Basilica and the Vatican. While viewing the ruins of the Colosseum and the Roman Forum, I asked the guide what happened, because some of these structures were standing and others looked as if they were torn apart. The guide told us that these buildings were in this present condition because of what previous of generations have done because they wanted to build a new Christian Rome. The Colosseum was built with the metal bars inside of the structures to hold the marble and stone together. In the ancient world, metal was very valuable and not easily acquired. The ancient Romans used up most of the marble around the city, so if you want to build something that lasts and is beautiful, marble would be a good building material. The new Christian Romans would chisel at the stone to get to the metal and would use it for their structures, causing the Colosseum to collapse in 1349. The Colosseum was not important to the new Romans as it was to the ancient people. Romans would use a lot of marble for their buildings because wood would burn or rot. That is why their buildings are still standing today, if they were not destroyed by other settlers. Like in many civilizations, the New World was built on the ruins of the old. For example, in Assisi, we saw pillars that were from the 1st century. They are in front of the Temple of Minerva, which they later turned into a church, now known as the Church of Santa Maria. This church is still in use today, and new society does not have to completely erase old by tearing it down. Instead of destroying the ruins, they kept them to show the life of an ancient Roman, or they would just make the building more modern to use today. During our trip, I learned from viewing the ruins that cities today face the same challenges as we do, such as housing, streets, pollution, and even environmental threats such as Pompeii and Herculaneum faced. Ancient cities were founded many times because of their geographic location and importance. Ostia was a seaport of Rome. Herculaneum and Pompeii were near the sea, but also farming cities. Not all ancient buildings were torn down. In fact, many were converted for new purposes. Cities have a life of their own, just like people. Cities grow, develop, and decline. Cities provide shelter, centers for government, worship, business, and gatherings. The explorica trip showed that people have lived in the same locations for thousands of years and used buildings for the same purposes. I learned on my trip that cities, like people, have ancestors.